Alright, hey guys, this is Meekick, and today I am planning to do my Scar H review, but before I do, I'm going to be talking about the giant hiatus between the last video and this one. The last video I posted was probably about 6 or 7 or 8 months ago. I lost track by now. And I kept putting off making a new video until all the way now, which has been a really long time, I know, but I've been having quite a lot of fun with CA, trying out new weapons and stuff like that, and I've also been playing a bit of Modern Warfare 2, so that's all fun, I suppose. I'm sure you've noticed I'm not using the same crappy mic that I was using for the other reviews that I've done so far. I actually now have a brand new headset. This new headset is obviously, the mic on it is way better than the old one I used to have. Old one was actually just mic'd up into a webcam, which obviously just didn't suit the purpose. As you could have seen with my last video, just detected all the wrong sounds. So yeah, there you go. That's a short version of what happened. Not going to go too in depth with that. Here we go. Time to start the review. Alright, so hey guys, this is Meekick once again, and today I'll be reviewing the Scar H. The Scar H is an NX rare variant of the Scar L, the GP Standard Scar L, which the main difference is basically it has higher damage and higher recoil. Now, the thing is, I wanted to give a more long, detailed explanation about this gun, but because I don't have as much gameplay footage, I'm just going to shorten it down a little bit. So for the damage, it's actually a 3 to 4 hit kill. It's 43 points in damage, so it's a strong 4 hit kill, but sometimes it can probably be 3 at the back. The portability is 57, which is actually rather heavy for an assault rifle. Definitely not the heaviest, but it's actually equal to the G36E, which is below average for an assault rifle. Pretty bulky, I suppose. The rate of fire is 70, which is a little higher than G36, but lower than M416. Even though it might seem a little low, it's got pretty high damage, which easily makes up for it. The accuracy is 85, which is right in between M416 and G36E. The G36 has a 90-point recoil, and the M416 has an 80-point recoil. Scar H is actually a pretty good balance in between, I suppose. Especially if you have a scope, you can try this for yourself. Fire at a long-range target with the M416, the G36, and Scar H. Scar H should probably be less difficult to hit that thing with than an M416, but not as easy with G36. Finally, we have the recoil. Okay, so the thing with the recoil is that it says that it's a 63-point recoil, but I find that to be very inaccurate, just because it doesn't make sense that the Scar H has the same recoil as an M416. As we all know, the M416 is a very low recoil gun, and there's no way that the Scar H has the same recoil as it. Like, I tried it when scoped in, and they're completely different in terms of recoil pattern and just the recoil in general. The Scar H just jumps straight up and then goes side to side after the four or five rounds, which just it's easily controllable if you can burst it, but still no way that the recoil is 63. It's probably more along the lines of 64 or 65. The spread on the Scar H is actually pretty good. If you use a Scar L, I think you'd agree with me if I were to say that most of the bullets kind of spread around the center of the crosshair, as opposed to anywhere else. But on the other hand, you have the Scar H, which, if you fire it, the spread is a little more random. It's still pretty tight, but I'm not as used to it as I am with the Scar L. Definitely not. I actually think that the Scar L has better spread than the Scar H, but that's just my personal opinion, and this one will probably vary from person to person. Okay, so some unique things about the Scar H. The Scar H actually has two different firing modes, which is the burst fire and the fully automatic. Even though this gun has the burst fire option, I don't think that it's useful at all for the gun. The rate of fire is too slow, and since there's like half a second delay in between each burst, it just isn't worth it to use the burst fire. The burst fire does reduce the spread and the recoil if you're not scoped in, but you can actually just substitute that on full automatic by just spraying bursts of 3, which is something I'll explain later in the tips, which I'll give out. Okay, so as for modifications, I'm sure you've noticed the weird looking scope on my gun at the start of the video, which is actually the HDS4 reflex sight. Now, I actually tried the iTech and the ACOG on this gun, and at the same time they released the HDS4 for 99NX for assault rifles, so I decided to buy that and try it on the Scar H, and I really like the the HDS4 reflex sight over the ACOG. How should I explain this? If you're gonna have a scope on this gun, it's probably gotta be a reflex sight. Like right off the bat, the reflex sight kind of increases aiming. It's more meant for close quarters combat, and it increases accuracy. The ACOG has farther magnification and is better for tap firing, but I don't think that that's going to be as useful in the Scar H as an iTech or an HDS4, because those actually reduce the recoil of the gun, which can be pretty big at times. For the magazine, I would use an extended mag 1. I would not use a fast loader, because I just can't stand fast loaders. You lose 6 shots, which is 20% of course. For 20% faster reload speed, I just don't find that to be worth it. You'll probably be killed by the time you finish even reloading the first time, and not even that, but you don't have enough bullets to kill somebody with. You can actually not bother to buy a clip at all, leaving it at 30 rounds is fine. And for extended mag 2, you could use one, but I'm not a very big fan of those, just because of the reload speed needed for 5 extra rounds over the extended mag 1. Finally, I don't think I've talked about this yet. You don't need a suppressor on the Scar H. Definitely no suppressor. For the Scar H, I don't quite see anybody going on any, like, they're not going to be doing any stealthy, they're not going to try and do any stealth stuff, so you don't really need a suppressor. This gun does a 3-shot kill sometimes. It's strong 4-hit. I don't see the need to put a suppressor on the gun, because you'll first of all kill the 3-hit, and then you'll maybe mess up a recoil, which is already controllable as it is. So there's no use in that. Alright, so I've hit just about every point statistically on Scar H. So I'm just going to talk about my impression of the gun. When I first used the gun, when I first started using the gun, I got it for 90 days. I was quite glad at first, but then, like, after the first couple of weeks of using it, I realized that, well, I got bored of the gun, but at the same time I realized that the spread is a little, the when scoped in, like the bullets don't always go down the red dot sight. So I eventually found a remedy for this towards the end of my use for the Scar H, which I'll explain in the tips. My first impression of the gun was that it was one of the best, but after using it, I think that it's actually just a pretty good, balanced, all-around gun. Essentially, the only tips I have for the Scar H is that use the controlled bursts. When you're going full auto, don't just spray at your opponent at mid or long range. Fire in controlled bursts of 3. Hold down your left trigger for about a half second, let it fire 3 shots, then pull back. Just go da-da-da, and then let it settle for a second, and then keep firing, and then keep doing it again. And the recoil shouldn't go out of hand. Very easy way to control the recoil, and very effective. It's also nice to have a scope on this gun, a reflex especially, so that it'll reduce the recoil. So yeah, thanks for watching the review. Hope to see you guys again soon. Thanks again.